Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brian Boyle, and welcome to episode 69. Episode 69. I know what you're thinking. I said episode. It's Friday. This is the Mesh Tongue. Brian Boyle here. And hey, welcome to episode 69. We're getting ready for a big weekend, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the weekend. I hope you are as well. And hopefully you've got some big plans. If you've got a race coming up this weekend, let me know. Keep those comments coming. Leave that information down here. I always love hearing from people as what they've got going with their big runs, what the races are doing, and if nothing else, just check in and let me know how things are going. So you can send those emails to brian@company5k.com. Again, that's Brian with an I, BRIAN, company5k.com. Today I want to talk to you about altitude training. Well, seems appropriate, seeing as how living here in Salt Lake City in the valley in Utah, we're sitting just below 5,000 feet of altitude. How many of you all have been out to Salt Lake or someplace in Utah? I know lots of people get out this way to travel and see a lot of our national park destinations. So if you're ever out this way, definitely check in and let me know. I'd love to catch up with you. But altitude training. So there's lots and lots and lots, and I mean lots of variables in altitude training. I mean, I could probably go on for days and days and days with altitude training. Today I'm going to highlight a few principles, and then I'll come back in another video probably and kind of highlight some of those principles again, or some different principles. But in regards to how you time it, let's just talk about timing of this. So if you're not used to altitude and you're going to try and come into some place, it's imperative that you put it into your training cycle roughly, let's say if you have a race coming up in 8 weeks. Okay, you would want to try to get to, or I should say 8 weeks prior to your race, you would want to get someplace with altitude. Okay, now there is a limit. There is the law of diminishing returns says that you cannot go too high. It's not like you can go to Everest and train. Okay, so we're looking at anywhere between 4,500 feet and probably 7,000 feet, and it's going to be dependent on where you're coming from. So if you're coming from sea level, 4,500 feet is going to seem extreme. If you're living at 4,500 feet, 7,000 feet is going to be more your level. So here a lot of people will head up into Park City and into the mountains to train because it sits about 6,000, 7,000 feet. It's a little bit higher than the 4,500, but it's not so excessive that that you cannot just get your legs. And if you've never been in altitude, you would certainly come out here and you'd see almost immediately that there's this neuromuscular delay, there's this fatigue, there's dehydration that occurs. Man, we are dry. I love it because I don't sweat as much. When I was on the East Coast, I sweat all the time. I'd get done with the workout, I'd hop in the shower. My friends out in the East Coast know exactly what I'm talking about. If it's hot and humid, or even down south, that you get out of the shower, you're still sweating, head to work, a couple hours later, it seems like you're still sweating. I love it because in Utah, I don't have that. I can get done with the workout, hop in the shower, I come out, I dry off, and I am dry. But what that also means is that I'm drinking a lot more water. You'll find that out as well. When you get out here, most people have to adapt by using a humidifier to bring some humidity into the room. So when we would visit out here before we moved, we'd have a humidifier in the room because our nasal passages were drying out. It just always seemed dry. Same thing, you go out for a run, you just seem drier. So once you acclimate to that and you adapt, it becomes easier, but you have to acclimate. So the reason to come out to altitude about 8 weeks prior is that you're going to have to acclimate to it. So you would need about 4 weeks for the hemoglobin, the red blood cells in the body, which have about an 80-day lifespan. Okay, so almost, think about just about 2 months. Okay, a little over 2 months to expand, to allow the oxygenation to occur, to then have an adaptation to occur, and then allow, after that 4 weeks of being somewhere, Okay, having an additional 3 to 4 weeks to regain that neuromuscular activity in the body, that you don't feel as fatigued, to rehydrate, to get your speed work. So, you come back after, 4 weeks of training at altitude, go to about 2 weeks later, really get it, some intense work in, as you're starting to taper, you get a little bit faster speed sessions in, and then get some rest, and then hit that race, that 8-week period. So a little bit about altitude there. If you're really interested in learning more about altitude, you can always send me an email. Again, that's Brian, Brian, at company5k.com. I'll be happy to share some further tips with you. And like I said, I'll put another video out there. There's so much we can cover in altitude training that I'll leave it at that for today. So timing is essential. Also the other thing that could be interesting is that, depending on altitude versus just getting away for 4 weeks. If you have the ability to get away for 4 weeks, how many of you actually do? There could be the difference in a lot of different things. Taking stress off your plate, that the chances are when you're getting better rest. So there's other things besides getting away, at altitude that may come into play with that. I also want to talk to you about these damn training masks. Okay, they look like these face masks. That basically, you're spending $100 to stimulate high altitude. The problem with these masks, all right, is that what you're doing is effectively taking a sock, stuffing it in your mouth to prevent the airflow coming in. Okay, it's not decreasing the oxygen, and while you're expanding your lungs and getting this nice long breath of air in at higher or hypoxic stages where you would get that in high altitude training, you're literally just stopping the airflow coming in. It's taking this piece of kind of mesh, all right, that you're breathing in. The reality of it is that while it sounds great and it's a gimmick and it makes you breathe a little bit harder, sure, you're feeling a little bit more stressed. In theory, you could put your treadmill up at a 15-degree angle and run at 5 mile an hour or 6 or 7 or 8 mile an hour and see the same sort of stress in that sense of gasping and huffing and puffing, without spending the $100 and looking kind of goofy. Now, I understand there's some degree of looking different, of mental kind of training. If that's what you're going for, if you're looking for the tough factor and you have $100 to spend, great, no big deal. The problem is, if you're looking for it to be a high altitude, hypoxic training, it's not getting what your money was, what you thought you were getting as advertised, if you will. So be careful with that. Be mindful. Use it. Use what you're using with a purpose. Have a reason behind it. If it's all pure mental, saying, "Oh, made my workout tougher," great. Hey, it is what it is. If you're looking for the hypoxic effect, it's not happening. Save your $100 or send it to me. I'll give you my address. You can send that $100 to me. I'll take a picture with the $100 with me, and I'll be happy to shout out to you whoever sent it to me, and you'll get some free publicity. So hopefully you find some value in that. This is episode 69 of the Mesh Tongue. This is Brian Boyle, and don't forget to check out runpainless.com. We've got lots of information over there. I appreciate you sharing this with your friends, your family, your training partners. As I always say, don't go hurting yourself to come back. We will see you again tomorrow, Saturday. So hopefully you've got a big day planned. Get out after the weekend, and until tomorrow, we'll see you again. Thanks.